Perry, and you're watching Retro Gaming Revival live.
Good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday. It is 8 o'clock. So it's not Wednesday, funny enough, but it's Retro Gaming Revival live. We've had to pull this one together. We've just had to put it together after all the news last week, after all the announcements. It just had to happen. We've put it together, and we've got some very special guests. So we'll do a very quick rip round to see who we have joining us this evening. We have joining us from the cupboard, Mr. Blunners.
Hi, everyone. Hi.
Excellent. We have live from Silent Hill. We have Tim Triangle Face, and there appears to be two Tims. Another one keeps logging in and out. So hopefully we'll see if we can discover this mystery of the second Tim this evening. We think it's Dorbs, but it's unconfirmed. And then two very special guests to join us on our Silent Hill special this evening. We have Mr. 16 Bits and Bobs himself, Mr. Ali Ali.
Yes! Thank you for having me! Thank you for having me. But is it triangle face or is it pyramid head? Is it triangle face?
There we go. And Joe, a lot of people ask me if Triangle Face is inspired by Pyramid Head, but it wasn't. It's unrelated. A lot of people make that connection.
Yeah. And then our resident horror brother from another podcast mother. We'll run with that. We have Ian from the RGB Gaming Podcast.
Well, how are you all? It is a pleasure to be back as always. I feel like this is becoming my second home. So I've got my feet under the table and I'm looking forward to discussing Silent Hill.
Lovely. It feels like this has come full circle, mate. 'Cause it was only a couple of months ago that we were chatting on your podcast about the rumors and all the stuff and like PT. We were talking all about just everything, and it just, oh man, last week was something special. Something special. So
it was. Yes.
I think a few times in a podcast we've done, or you've mentioned that you really want to see some more Silent Hill. Like the amount of time you've gone, we really need to revisit Silent Hill, and now it's happening, which is great.
It is happening. Finally, it is happening. So for anyone that hasn't guessed, this is our Silent Hill special. After all the news last week, it was I just had to get together with a bunch of people and talk about all this stuff. We have got a few people in the chat. I know Blunners is pumping the names up on there. We've got Mr. RGB Gaming. How are we doing? We have the Rampage Talk. Hello, sir.
Yes, big T.
We've got Rob Taylor. Evening, Rob. We've got Mr. Ryan from RGR. Mr. Gold2th.
Ooh.
It is a full house this evening. So hello, everybody, and welcome. Before we start, it took me ages to find, and it's a sound effect that I feel that just has to kick this off. Once it decides. It is a sound effect that can just induce fear, terror, and a very, very quirky sort of arousal at the same time. It's very strange. But yes, we are here to talk all things Silent Hill. So before jumping into some of the older stuff and memories of Silent Hill, the main thing that sort of pulled this all together is, of course, the Silent Hill transmission that Konami called it last week, where they unveiled what I thought was going to be a mobile game, a new skateboard deck, and possibly a pachinko machine. That is what I had on the betting sheet that I thought they would announce. So the fact that they announced 3 games, 2 of which are completely original, a new movie, and some interactive experience, I was completely taken back, totally blown away, and sort of ready to throw all of my money at Konami again, considering they have burnt us all dreadfully over the years. But I'm presuming you guys have all had a chance to see the transmission, see the announcements, and all the trailers that they threw at us, and everything like that.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was so good. I think I was watching Halloween Ends at the time, and I had Blunders message me saying, "What time does it kick off?" And you're like, "Do you know, I hadn't thought about it. I was going to search for it once Halloween Ends had finished." And he was like, "Yeah, it's up now." It's like, "Yeah, pause," and just dived into that for 40 minutes. And of course, the first thing that kicked that off was the Silent Hill 2 remake trailer. Now,
Looks good.
I'm not going to lie. There was a little part of me that was desperately hoping if they were going to go remakes, they were going to start at the beginning and just work their way through.
Yeah.
So you saw the little part at the beginning with James like rubbing his face and like, oh my God, it's a Silent Hill 2 remake. And then by about midway through the trailer, I think I could have cried. I was that excited. This trailer just looks nuts. It really does. And I know there's some people that are upset because it's, how do you pronounce the studio doing? Is it Bloomberg or
Bloober?
Bloomberg, yes.
Yeah.
And then the people that did the Medium, which I know some
Medium.
people. Yeah.
It's an amazing game.
Some
It's
people
got a
love
lot
it.
of Silent Hill 3 vibes to it, I reckon.
Yes,
Yes.
it does. Yes, absolutely.
I think
it
the
does.
Medium's an awesome game.
And they made the Blair Witch as well, which wasn't a bad game.
They did. That is a
Yeah.
very
Got it.
underrated horror game.
Looking forward to playing 2, because I missed my chance to play it. Really, I can remember seeing it once in CEX. Silent Hill 2 on the shelf. I can't remember what it was, but I considered getting it, and I must have just had lots of other games on the go at the time. Thinking, I've got too many unfinished games. I'm not going to pick up a new game. I decided not to get it, and I walked away. And then it just dwelled in my mind. I think, did I make the wrong choice walking away from Silent Hill 2? I kept thinking that. You know what? I'm just going to go back and get it. And I went back to CEX and it was gone. And I was like, no, someone else picked it up. So I was like, oh, gutted.
What a shame.
Yeah, so now with my chance to play it, I missed out when I made that decision to not pick it up. I was on the fence, and I just, do you know what it's like though? When you think about buying something, you walk away, and then all of a sudden you change your mind, and you just like hooing it back to the shop. Like, I've got to go before someone picks it up and made a mistake.
It's weird because Silent Hill 2 is, I think for me, where the franchise, I mean, the first game is timeless. It's still all right. So it's a PS1 janky game that uses tank controls, but it still plays well. It still looks great, and it's still scary. But Silent Hill 2 is the one that I think pushed the franchise into this almost stratospheric, borderline godlike territory. The story was so adult. It was a really clever script, a really dark story. There was nothing amusing about it. Like Resident Evil would sometimes have a little bit of light relief, and I just never felt that Silent Hill did. It was just straight horror. And this one just, if you're going to remake something, sometimes it's a good idea to just ground up, redo it, and bring it right up to where it needs to be. And Silent Hill 2, the original, still looks good, but man, this remake.
The second one was just so iconic. I mean, the second one's just, it's a masterpiece, ain't it? It is like, the game, it just took it, like what you said, it took it to the next level. I mean, I do love the first one. Loads of people say the second one's like way better. The first one's still really special to me. Probably because of the nostalgia. But the second one is just, it's a masterpiece in gaming. It's so iconic. I mean, it's not, is it triangle face or is it pyramid head? Whatever it is, that character, it's just for atmosphere in the game. And even though you can just say the atmosphere is all about the fog, because it's just fog everywhere. But that's not for atmosphere. It's all about the town. I mean, I am proper excited about it. For me, this is all about Silent Hill. Resident Evil has a special place in my heart. But Silent Hill is, it is. Silent Hill is such an amazing franchise. And is it 10 years since?
It is 10 years since
10 years?
anything.
This has got everyone excited. It's got everyone proper enthusiastic. I mean, I can't wait. But I just wanted to ask for you guys, is it Is it a PS5 exclusive or is it a PlayStation? I know it's on PC.
It's a PS4
I think it's timed.
PC and PlayStation?
I think it's a timed exclusive. So I think PS5 get it for a year, and then
Okay.
Xbox and wherever else they choose to port it will definitely get it. Yeah, I think Konami, well, Sony would have had to have paid a lot of money, I think, to get that as a full exclusive. And maybe they should have done, because I think, for me personally, that sort of title's a system seller. But I could completely agree with you, mate. It's
I'm going to buy a PS5 for this game. I've been waiting to buy a PS5. I can't. Yeah, I mean, you still can't get one, but this is going to make this is the game. I wanted the PS5 to play straight, but this is 100% like swayed me to buy a PS5.
To be honest, there isn't really anything on the PS5. I had mine day one, and to be honest, what was the point, really?
I mean, I've got a whole bunch of games there that would say different, but it's to have that real pull.
Play them all PS4, can't you?
Yeah.
Most of them, I think, Returnal was probably the one that pulled a lot of people. But if you don't like that type of game, it's difficult and it puts you off. But yeah, Silent Hill, I think, could be, but it's certainly pulling Ali into buying one. That's for sure.
100%.
Looking at this,
definitely. I can't wait.
It's confirmed coming to PlayStation 5 and PC.
Okay.
It says.
That's what I thought I read. Yeah, they should have. Do you know what they should have put? They should have put not available on Xbox. That's what they should have done. Don't you reckon?
That's good enough. Yeah, because technically that says it's confirmed coming to PlayStation 5 and PC. It doesn't mean it's not coming anywhere else. It's just those are the two platforms it's confirmed for.
Yeah.
If they advertise it as not on Xbox, that's a definite.
But that's better, right? Because that means does that mean it's like more optimized for like PS5 and PC? Do you know when you get stuff released on
PS4?
Yeah.
I only think it's going to be running on PS5, I don't know. Unless they are just trying to push the system a bit more now, so they can say, "Look, we can."
I mean, a lot of those
just do it on the one.
A lot of those optimizations for the PS5 certainly would be for the controller. And it's weird. You wouldn't think that, like, the haptic feedback and the triggers sort of giving you resistance and this kind of thing would really immerse you in a game. But there are games where it really kind of does. And certainly for this, with the microphone or the speaker, in the PS controller, having that crackle of the radio coming through that rather than the TV. I'm already excited to be thinking like, fuck, that's going to be making me shit my pants on a regular basis.
You have to wear nappies, Pampers.
I think so. Yeah, massive giant incontinence pants while we all play through Silent Hill 2 remake. But Mr. Ian, you've got to be excited about this.
Well, in my restless dreams, I see that town, Silent Hill, and I couldn't believe watching that transmission. And I just want to say that the transmission itself was absolutely brilliant from start to finish. And I tell you, I shed a tear, almost shed a tear watching it, because I agree with Ali there. Resident Evil is a special place in my heart. Probably my favorite horror game, but Silent Hill is the game that deserves to be back. I mean, like you said, Ollie, we discussed this a few months ago. We talked about this. We foreseen this happening. So it's about time, and it's very well received, should I say? But I think it was a good choice going with Silent Hill 2, and I think you're all right. Silent Hill 2, like Silent Hill, could easily be its own standalone game. You wouldn't even need to put a 2 on it. It could be Silent Hill something without the number 2. They're just so unique, each of the games, and my mind was blown when I seen the graphics and seen how well polished it is, and of course Unreal Engine will be powering it, which means it's going to look beautiful and seamless. And apparently, rumors are there are no loading screens. This game does not stop.
Wow!
So we will be once we step foot in Silent Hill, there's no going back and there's no stopping. I'm assuming there will be save points, but other than that, we are going for it head on with our lead pipe and our static radio, and I for one cannot wait to play it.
It shows a lot how far things have come, really, doesn't it? Considering that the first Silent Hill the whole reason for the fog was that they couldn't load everything, and it was to prevent all that pop up. So they had to include the fog for that technical reason. It's become part of the the story and part of the lore of Silent Hill. And now the fact that they don't even need loading screens, it's mad how far things have come. When you look at comparing PS2 version, PS5 version, you just look at how far the graphics have come along.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I was proper analysing the video, and I even noticed, like that, the way the door opens.
Yeah.
It looks like it opens different, like you just go straight in rather than, I don't know. I was like, how does the door open? I was like, proper looking at it. I was like, the loading thing sounds amazing. Yeah, it does.
There was.
I was looking at when I walked out, there was a car, and how the quality.
Yes.
The lighting on it, and I was thinking, whoa.
Yeah,
okay.
it just looks amazing.
It reminded me of, do you know when they showed Resident Evil 2 remake? And I was comparing it to like Leon and James, like the face, like look at the face, like a little bit of that. But I noticed like there's a shot when he walks past and he's got the map in the background. And I was like, oh, that looks wicked. That looks proper good. Ding dong.
Ding dong.
Radio Rentals, welcome. It's been a little while since we've had Radio Rentals on the stream.
Faces in the server.
I don't know what's going on with the second triangle face. Just
fantastic.
Don't believe their lies if you speak to
Pyramid.
Radio Rentals are on it. They can try and fix this for us, so we'll see how it goes. I'm almost certain. I know they did interview, and I really don't want to butcher his name, but Akira Yamamoto, the original composer. I'm sure they were talking to him, and he was saying that the music was being reused, because I know the music in the trailer isn't from Silent Hill 2. But I'm
new
sure
music, Ollie.
All new music.
All new music is coming to the game.
Okay.
So what their angle is, it's a remake, but it's a new game.
Okay.
So that'll be interesting.
It's hard to tell really now, isn't it? When you get a remake of something, it's like, how different is it going to be? Like, is it built from the ground up, completely new game, or is it just a HD remaster kind of thing? It looks like this is going to be a remake, not like a remaster. Yeah, it's a proper remake. If any of the Resident Evil remakes or anything to go by, like Resident Evil 2 remake was brilliant game.
Pretty faultless, wasn't it?
I love
pretty faultless. It was that was a genuine horror experience, and again, coming off the back of like Resident Evil 7 as well, which was like that was pretty good as well.
Yeah, 7's wicked.
Really good.
I'm playing The Village at the moment with my cousins. We've got about 2 hours left. The Village is amazing. The whole series is, I think, has been awesome. It's a hard one to beat. But what Ian was saying, it is great to see it back. It's awesome to see Silent Hill back.
That's
one area I think it would be great to have some VR something, because Resident Evil 7 in VR is probably hands down my favourite gaming, like horror gaming experience, is playing that in VR. But I almost think like Silent Hill is it's going to be too much to be in VR. It might be just too horrific. Like Resident Evil had like jump scares and stuff, right? But Silent Hill is anxiety-inducing, creepy, like psychological, like playing on your phobias kind of stuff. It's like some of the creatures and that. Resident Evil is like zombies, jump scares, action, movie. But Silent Hill is just full-on horror, isn't it? It's like, I think you want to be doing that intense in VR.
I know.
There's something about that though. I don't know, to be able to walk through. Even if it was just an experience, to just be able to walk through Silent Hill in VR, that would be.
I mean, it would have to be done. I wouldn't be able to stop myself. I'd want to do it. But I'd probably. I don't know if it would be an enjoyable experience, but I'd be too.
No, I would give my hat off to. I would give my hat off to anyone who plays that game in VR. Even Resident Evil. I had to take the whole thing. I freaked out. I can't even play Resi in VR, let alone Silent Hill. Especially with all the fog, just something like coming in your face. Like, no way. You're having a laugh. No way. Never.
So I would say it's pretty safe to say that we're all fairly excited, I think, for the Silent Hill 2 remake. I've not quite understood some of the negativity that we've seen online about it. Like I don't get it. Like Ian says, it's going to be a completely new game. Yes, it's Silent Hill 2, but it is going to be a completely new experience. So And like with all the remakes that people get funny about, it's like the original's like there. You can play the original, it's still there. It's not going anywhere.
And there's loads of remakes coming out. There's Dead Space remake coming out.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4. Are they doing 4?
Yep. They are.
Yeah, they're doing 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's loads of remakes. So
And they're all looking good.
why not Silent Hill?
Exactly. If that's, I think that is probably going to be the first release, isn't it, from this new plethora of games, and it would be a good way just to get people back, I think, into the franchise and get people to fall back in love with it, that have maybe left it for a little while and sort of been a bit estranged from the series. So, cannot wait. And then after that, and all the chatter they had about Silent Hill 2, they then announced, we're also working on a completely new Silent Hill game. And this was Silent Hill Townfall, which I have no idea where this is going. Literally none. I just remember watching the trailer and thinking, what? Like, it gave nothing away in terms of maybe the story or even the setting particularly, but it in true Silent Hill fashion, it was just very confusing. And I don't know if anybody else has done a bit of reading onto Silent Hill Townfall, or whether this is the one that was sort of registered with the Korean board of, like, whatever their gaming board was. They registered a game out there. But yeah, man, Silent Hill Townfall, I have absolutely no clue, not a Scooby-Doo, what this game is going to be about. No. I don't know if anybody else has. I can see Tim sort of looking at a second screen, whether that's him looking into Silent Hill Townfall.
He's looking out into the distance, isn't he?
No, because Silent Hill 2, when we saw that one first, well, I saw that first. I was like, yes, we know what this is about. Yes, it is. You know what it is. This one, I was like, what? Well, first of all, I wasn't even expecting that anyway. I wasn't even expecting a proper 2 remake, to be honest.
Yep.
So that was like an amazing hit. But when I saw that, I was like, another one? What is it? Like,
Yeah. And I thought, like, same as you, Ali, I thought once they'd announced the remake, I thought, oh, wow, that's it. That's the transmission. Like, I'm happy. Like, if it literally had ended then, I would have gone, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Like, that's worth it. But no. A new game.
Well, I must confess, I've watched that trailer about 30 times, and if you go into YouTube, you can slow it down the speed to like 1.5. So I was trying to dissect as much as I could, and the only thing I could work out was that the letter T appears. So I thought, is that a throwback to PT possibly? And then if you watch the little TV in slow motion, you do get a shot of the corridor from PT inside the house.
Really?
And yes. And what else was there? I've written something else down here. Exterior shots of streets, interior shots of houses, and there's like some kind of human being or monster with no flesh hugging another person. So I have a feeling that this possibly, I don't think it's going to be PT, but I think this could be possibly a first-person Silent Hill game.
Wow!
And again, we've got that connection with Europe again, because it's No Code are making it, and they're Glaswegian. They're from Scotland, so they're developing the game, and they're working with that crowd that made Stray. So it looks good. From what I've seen, it looks good, but I've paused it. But there's a name badge, but I can't make out what it is. It turned it up, screenshot it, turned it upside down. Couldn't work out the name. So it'll be interesting, because if you watch the transmission, John McKillen tells us watch the trailer again. So I've watched about 30 times in slow mo, and that's what there seems to be like coordinates and all too. So it'll be interesting. I think it's something in the PT universe. That's what I'm guessing it's going to be. That's what my thoughts and feelings are.
That would be absolutely fantastic if it was. Yeah. I must admit, I have just had a quick random Google just to see what it is, and pretty much everything you've just mentioned there. Lots of people saying that they're really tearing this trailer down. Mm-hmm. So I feel like
person, is there a chance that they could do at least a VR mode?
Yeah,
because they're going to be on.
Ooh, okay.
PSVR.
So I'm just on a website. I'm just reading on a website here, and it says here another fan on the same thread noticed that a voice line at 33 seconds into the trailer kind of sounds like a woman saying, "Wow, is that really a lesser?"
Oh, wow! People have really broken it down, haven't they? Watching it in slow mo. Wow, that is
I am behind the game with this trailer. Clearly, like, man, I need to just move away from my family, quit my job, and just obsess over some of this stuff for just a couple of days, to really sort of digest it all and keep up, because and you're quite right. Now that you've mentioned about the gentleman saying, watch the trailer again. Yes, he absolutely did, and clearly there's going to be reason for that. It's speculation central, but man, if it's tied into what they were doing with Silent Hills and PT, like, again, I'm just gonna throw money, take it now. I'll pre-order. We're in. I need it, because that for me is the biggest travesty that ever came out of the Silent Hill universe, was that game not happening.
Yeah.
100%.
Don't know if you've seen from the comments, RGB Gaming's found a Silent Hill 2 world in VR chat.
What?
Definitely check out Riga's channel.
Really?
He goes round reviewing VR chat worlds. And there's loads of calls. I think he's done one where he went into like an Oblivion world, like you walk around Cyrodiil, things like that. So lots of recreated worlds from games and stuff. It looks like there's a Silent Hill 2 VR chat room we can go into. So that'd be interesting to go and have a look.
Yeah.
That has to be good. Riga, jump on it. Let us know if it's worth trying to figure out how we can get in.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Nice.
So the bets are then it's going to be potentially first person, and we could be tied to the PT universe.
Oh, is it true?
Oh, you could you could feel how sexy this is, can't you? You can just feel it in the air.
You
right
can
now.
feel the sex. If I was wearing a hoodie with a zip, the zip would be down. I'm wearing a t-shirt where I can't get easy access. I would have to rip it apart like a whole and get loads of milk on me, but I can't do that.
Oh,
And I don't want to
dude,
get my
no,
t-shirt wet, to be honest.
mate.
Blooders will get too excited. Is it true, Blooders? Is it true? You'll get too excited.
It's gonna be
Mate,
good, man.
we'd have to pass on the milk, man. Like, milk is borderlining a phobia for me. Since we're talking about scary things, like
What's phobia? What?
almost. I fucking hate milk, dude. It sucks.
What? Oh, you got love. No, do you know what? I like oat milk. I only drink oat milk now.
Oat milk, it's okay, but it's like psychosomatic for me. It's white, and therefore it's like, no. It's weird. It's a totally
What about
irrational.
yogurt? What about
Yeah, yogurt's fine because it doesn't taste or smell like it. Yeah, our first tangent of the evening, we managed to keep it going for 28 minutes before we dived on the first tangent. And then the first tangent is my weird borderline phobia of milk. Fuck.
So you don't have cereal? What about like Cheerios and
I
stuff?
have like a very small amount on cereal just so it's not totally dry. And then tea, I'll have like, again, a very, very small amount just to take that total bitter edge off. But milk. Do you remember that? We'll keep on the tangent for a bit. There was that fucking awful advert for like face cream. And the advert was a woman just pouring milk over it. Oh my God.
What was that?
Absolute trauma-inducing
You need
advert
to-
that was.
You need to send that to me.
Well, I've
Yeah.
got a similar thing with baked beans. Got a weird thing about baked beans. Just they upset me.
Beans
for some
also
reason.
suck. I don't like them.
I
They
don't know
don't
why.
taste nice.
I could easily just like not eat them, but I actually just don't like being around them. They're just like-
Being around them.
No, it's
Where's
not.
where's
I had a friend of mine
Gold2th when you
who
need them?
went through a phase like sending me pictures that were just titled like beans where there shouldn't be beans. And it'd be like a shoe with baked beans in it, or like a clock with like baked beans in this clock,
What?
stuff like that. And he just did it.
Where
to
did
upset
you
me.
do that?
Oh, it's just weird. I don't know why. They're harmless. They're beans, but for some reason got a weird. I wouldn't call it a phobia. Just like a very odd dislike of beans. So I know where you're coming from, Ollie.
Oh
Just
man.
beans instead of milk.
Oh,
Is that
cheers,
what kind
buddy.
of
Well,
beans? What about like black-eyed beans and all that kind of stuff?
No, it's just baked beans. Like I'll have like
Baked beans.
kidney
Black
beans
beans.
and pinto beans and a chili or something. That's fine, but I can't even rationalise it. I just don't like baked beans. For some reason.
Don't rationalise it, mate. It's irrational. I feel less.
It
weird
is an
now.
irrational feeling about them. I wouldn't call it a fear. Like I'm not afraid of beans, but there's a
Yeah.
weird Got a weird thing
What
about
about
it.
you, what about you, Ian? You got any phobias we need to hear about?
Nah, not really, to be honest with you. I'm a hard man, so
Yeah.
no, I
Mate,
don't.
my-
Not really. Yeah, I just sort of eat anything and drink anything, and yeah, I'm all good.
Do you want to?
Same as me, man.
Good.
Do you want to know my actual phobia?
Yes.
There we go.
And
Nice,
my
isn't it?
kids think my kids think this is absolutely hilarious. My full on phobia, and it is like panic inducing, is
Ooh.
crabs,
Which ones?
like the pinchy crabs.
Oh,
No, the shellfish.
ones that live
Beans.
within
Milk and beans.
not
Yeah,
the gold-tooth crabs, not those ones.
No. Those crabs are gross, but they're I'm not afraid of
What?
them.
If you're just coming in at this point, you'd be like, "Wow, you guys are not going to get far in Silent Hill if you're scared of milk and beans." Like,
Yeah.
that's just not going to be your
Crab.
day.
Do you
Yeah.
mean like crabs on the beach?
Yeah,
Those kind of crabs.
Yeah.
yeah.
They're
Full
well
on.
cute. They're
No,
cute.
they're not.
As opposed
No,
to the
they're
itchy
not.
ones.
Oh, is it true, Ian?
I can't
No,
do it. I
man,
can't
like-
do it as good as Gold2th. Need the original here. Where is he? Anyway, he's
No,
disappeared off the chat too.
I know,
He's
it
missing some
disappeared.
gold here.
Do
Yeah,
you know what I've got a phobia of?
go for it.
Oh, God.
I don't like being in close proximity to like pigeons and birds. I hate the flapping.
Okay.
I
My
get
wife-
really freaked out by that.
My wife feels you.
I don't
My
like
wife
it.
feels that she can't. She
Really?
But yeah, birds freak her out too.
Yeah, it's a proper thing.
Yeah,
That's a proper thing.
yeah.
The crab thing, I don't know if that is.
Oh, mate, no, they're
the
fucking wrong.
pigeon thing, definitely.
You want like a crab that will strike fear into anybody's heart is the giant Japanese spider crab, or the ones in Australia, the coconut crabs that are like the size of big, they're like the size of big dogs.
Really?
Fuck that, man. They are no. No.
But you don't get them down in Southampton, is it?
Yeah, no, but even the small ones, my kids think it's hilarious. So if we ever go crabbing, they think it's fucking hilarious to just sort of swing the rope nearer when it's on it. And you just when jumping in the water is an actual option to get away from the crab on the end of a stick, it's like
Yeah. Oh man.
so there you go. We've all opened up this evening. We've got fears of birds,
feel
fears of
like,
crabs,
yeah,
fears
well.
of beans. Yeah,
Milk.
milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all there. It's all there. So pulling it back on topic then.
One last thing.
Go for
So
it.
how did you feel about me pouring milk on me? Did that make you feel like sick?
It wasn't great, but it's you, so I'm going to watch it.
Oh, thank you.
When did you pour milk on you? When did that happen?
All the time. All the time. All the time. It's good for the skin. Bathing it.
Oh, dear.
So Silent Hill. So after Silent Hill Townfall, with all of the discussions that we've had surrounding what we think that could be, the next big game, and there was another game, another completely original. No crab rave. There was another original game that they announced, and that is Silent Hill F. And again, this had more in the trailer, in the sense that from this trailer, we're able to identify a location. So it's definitely going to be in Japan.
Yeah.
And that's about all we know. I think I've read online that it's going to be set in the 60s.
Ooh, fun.
And that is about all that we can deduce, I think, from that trailer. It looks
Yeah.
bizarre. Again, like Silent Hill, it should always be a bit weird, be pushing some kind of boundary. But the thing that intrigues me the most is this setting in Japan. How in the hell is Silent Hill tied to 1960s Japan?
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm sure people will speculate, people will analyze, but man, that trailer, the thing that trailer gave me vibes of more than anything was Midsummer.
Yeah.
You know what? I was about to say that. I didn't know why. So it made me think of Midsummer. But is it just like the flower wreath or something?
Yeah.
Is that what made you think of it?
Yeah, definitely. And then the music transition at the end as well, sort of having, these sort of what I'm guessing it's traditional Japanese instruments playing music throughout the trailer, and then it just segueing into that iconic Silent Hill mandolin song, but with Japanese music, Japanese instruments.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus! I couldn't even hedge a guess as to what they're doing with this. But
No, the only thing I got from it, it had a lot of atmosphere in it, which is from what you get from the Silent Hill games. It had a lot of atmosphere, but apart from that, it started off with like loads of stills, didn't it? And then it went into some like video graphics, whatever it was. But I was really, and then it had that bit where the face just comes off. Did you see that?
Just slides off.
Slides off.
Slides off. There's got to be like a lot of phobias surrounding plants, like because it's like plants actually growing out of her and stuff. There's got to be like a term for it. There's
like organic kind of.
I'm sure that's is that. It made me think of that. There's a phobia of like things with holes in them.
Cluster holes.
A lot of people were talking about an episode of what was that series? American Horror Story. There's like the thumbnails had like people with like holes in them. I think a lot of people complained because it was on the front of it, and like, there's people that've got like genuine phobias of like seeing things with like lots of holes in. And it's made me think of that. Like it's freaky, right? It's just a really freaky thing to see someone with like plants as part of them. There's got to be some sort of psychological fear of that sort of thing. It's got to be playing in your mind somehow, I think. That's just what makes it so creepy. Tie that in with some creepy music and you're done, aren't you?
Definitely, it's definitely an interesting one because if it is 1960, I don't think it predates Silent Hill because it was 1950s, wasn't it? It was a mining town.
Yeah.
So it could be one of these things where these towns appear sporadically across the world. You know, there's each maybe certain countries or certain parts of the world all have like a Silent Hill type area, you know, and what I found interesting is exactly what Tim was saying there was the flowers, you know, and if we watch the little narrative, again, this is something I've watched about 50 times, of the schoolgirl making her way, what seems to be like a normal journey, and she's kind of vibrant and happy-go-lucky at the start, and then the flowers emerge. So I think that's maybe connotations or symbolism of power and growth. And then we get another scene then where she's kind of almost zombie walking with a lead pipe, and she's dragging it behind her, so there's obviously some combat or some fighting that's going to go down in this game. Then she's running up the stairs, no socks and shoes on, her clothes are all tattered and ripped. So you know, maybe it's one of these things that whenever we see the actual prelogue or the story, maybe it was some kind of, you know, ritual or something that was going to take place, and she managed to escape. And then obviously the ritual happened as she's floating on her floral boat. And like Ali says, her face falls off, but before that, we see a single tear trickle down her face.
Yeah.
And Tom makes the point then of the flower growing out. But if we look at the trailer, we can see that there's limbs and arms floating in the water, and they have the holes where these cherry blossoms or whatever they are emerge from. So it'll be interesting to see how this game goes, because to be honest with you, whenever after the transmission was finished, this was actually the one that actually made me even more excited than Silent Hill 2.
Oh,
and because it was like this is new. This is brand new. This is, you know, we're familiar a little bit with the story of Silent Hill 2. Yes, it's a remake. They're going to make it a new game. We're going to get, you know, different combat. We're going to get different controls. We're going to get different music. You know, it's going to look beautiful, but when I seen this, I was like, exactly midsummer. This is unreal. This is, you know, this is outside of Silent Hill. This is in a different area or different dimension or different universe or whatever it may be. But you know, that's me looking for things that probably aren't there. But you know, after just being a Silent Hill freak and a freak that just watches.
No, that's good analysis. Who's it made by? Who's it made by? Who's the?
I'm not too sure. I don't think it told us the developers, or maybe it did. I think it did. I can't remember who it was, but it's the F that's kind of throwing people off because
and everyone's saying it's like
it's a musical note, something to do with music or something like that, or whatever. But it'll be interesting to see. I quite like the suggestions in the chat there. Silent Hill Forest, Silent Hill Forgotten. I think that's all good. I think they're great. They're great calls.
Oh, 4. Yeah.
Just seeing whether this has got development duties are being handled by Neobards Entertainment, who have previously worked with Capcom on several of its Resident Evil games, including RE-Verse. I never got to play REverse, so I have no idea if that was
It's
a hit or a
literally
miss.
just out, Ollie. It came out. What day is it today? 25th. It came out yesterday.
Oh, okay, so
Early
I've not played
access. So it's been sitting around for a while. Kind of won't it ever work? And it sort of finally came out yesterday. But I haven't played it. I've just seen an update on my PlayStation saying you can now play early access of it. So that'll be interesting. I think that's. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have much hope for it.
Okay. Well, let's hope that they don't balls up the first original Silent Hill game then, because that seems to be who the studio is. So, yeah.
Well, these are all being made by different studios, aren't they? They're all being made by different. So that is a really interesting thing as well, because obviously you can just go. It's not going to be the same style. It's going to go in different directions, and they can be each one can be creative and put their own take on it, right?
Yeah. It's kind of a good move. I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because I mean, the remake's the remake. That's just going to be almost like, I don't want to say it's a standalone, but it almost is completely on its own. But yeah, having two studios doing two new games, two new entries into the series. Yeah, like you say, interesting. People bringing their different flavors, their different styles. It could be great.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when you get like an anthology movie, like something like VHS or something like that, where you get, you know, five cool directors, and it just pulls together to make this sort of thing. It's like,
Well, that's an interesting point, because the curator of the transmission, Okamata, is that what you call the guy? I can't remember. I don't butcher his name, but that's one of the things that he and Sienna were talking about. We're talking about that they are open and prepared to work with different developers. So I think you're right. I think that each game is going to, moving forward, I think each game is going to be hand-picked. Developers are going to be hand-picked here by Konami, because each one of them seem to have a love and passion for the games, which makes me kind of think it should be in safe hands, you know.
Yeah. Especially with Bloober doing the medium.
Yeah.
We've got that kind of the love for that genre.
And again, another European development company. I think they're Polish. So you know, there's a great connection here with Europe, with No Code, Bloober, and you know, there doesn't seem to be an American connection just yet, but you know, it's looking good.
Yeah.
It really is. The future of certainly of the gaming franchise is looking insane right now. So yeah, really can't wait to see what any of those titles turns out to be, and hopefully we won't have long to wait. I'm hoping beyond hope that Q2 next year will be the Silent Hill 2 remake, and then that will tide us over until we get any announcements on any of the other ones. They then breached away from gaming, and they went into, I'm not going to go straight into the thing that I'm itching to talk about, so I'm going to go into the first port of something which doesn't appear to be, certainly it doesn't appear to be a straight video game anyway, from the looks of it. And that was Silent Hill Ascension, which is meant to be some kind of live interactive experience where the fans can shape the lore for Silent Hill live as it unfolds, which sounds batshit crazy. It sounds like it could be a good thing. It sounds like it could be a really bad thing. You know, it's got all that. I don't know. In my head, I've got this pegged as something like the Bandersnatch episode of Black Mirror, where you could effectively like pick decisions while you're watching the episode, and the episode then changed. So everybody's first watch through a Bandersnatch was, you know, quite different. I just have no idea how this is going to work. I think all they were sort of giving away is that it is going to become lore, whatever happens, and you can't change it. It's heavily interactive, and that was kind of it. And I was like, "Fuck, is this a?" When they said like an interactive experience, I thought, "Oh my god, is this going to be sort of like?" Obviously, hopefully a bit more of an upmarket version, but like one of those Halloween horror experiences where you go somewhere and experience something. And then they started talking about it being an interactive thing where people can choose things. I was like, okay, so it's not going to be that. Again, it's true Silent Hill fashion is to sort of keep it mysterious, give you enough to sort of dangle that carrot where you're kind of, running forward trying to grab it, but just keep it just out of reach so that you don't know everything. So again, Silent Hill Ascension is something that I have no idea how this is going to pan out, or when it's going to land, or what format it's even going to be in.
Yeah. It sounds like I think it sounds like they're just trying to do everything, though, right?
Yeah.
They're just trying to milk it now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, why not? But I don't know. I think it's a bit gimmicky.
Yeah,
It's almost like
There could be something. It sounds like they're looking for something with a long-lasting effect. For instance, here it's saying that they want fans to have a chance to shape the Silent Hill canon forever. So it's like if it is an interactive thing where people can choose options, it sounds like they might try. If it's an event as well, could it be like a live event where people watching can sort of vote on the outcomes they want to see, and then that will be that, and then that's the outcome, and then that will shape what happens to the franchise. Because if they do that, that would be a pretty big deal. I think that would be quite a bold stroke for a company like that to do. And get some permanent canon impacted by people watching a live event.
Yeah.
Out of everything that was announced, this was my least favorite thing. I hopefully I'm proved wrong, but I don't have much hope for it. I'm just envisaging sort of like Until Dawn type thing where we have to make decisions and then we're stuck with it. And I can't see it being like a free thing. I would say this is probably like microtransactions, and this is some kind of subscription. And that's I don't like the fact that fans and players can make the lore or the canon of the game. That should come from Konami themselves. I like that myself, but that's my own opinion. People will argue that we're the fans, we should make it happen. But for me, I can't see this thing. Again, whenever this came up, I was automatically thinking of Reverse. Do you know what I mean? I think this has been a disaster. It hasn't come. It's taken a sweet ass time. It's an online thing. It could be, just a place for trolls and arseholes to hang out and ruin the game for people. So I don't know. I don't know. This is my least favorite thing, and they give nothing away. It's like check out the Ascension website. And so the way trailer was cool. Don't get me wrong, but it looks very, I don't know. It's very Until Dawn. It's very, it's no, not Until Dawn. I've got that mixed up. Might play like Until Dawn, but it's like that Dead by Daylight. It could be something like that.
Yeah.
We're all characters. We make our own sort of avatars, and we pony about Silent Hill, and we talk to each other, and but we've got time and another to do it. We need to sign up to the Silent Hill universe for like $4.99 a month or something. So, that's only, I don't know. I could be wrong, but it's my least favorite thing, I think. Out of the
it really depends on how it is and how they execute it, isn't it? Depends how they do it. So I'm saying if they're going to do things which is like a decision-based thing, I do kind of like the idea of it being a permanent thing where they're going to have this one event and there'll be an outcome and that'll be it. I think that'd be quite cool. But if, like you mentioned, sort of Until Dawn, if it's just like a game where you make choices and then that's the end, and you could always just go back and play the game again and make different decisions. I don't think that's anything that spectacular. But it could be interesting if they do it as like a one-off event, but they stick to what happens. That could be interesting.
It's, I don't know. I want it to be cool. I don't mind if it's okay as long as it's cool. Something interesting. Something. I don't know. I agree with you, Ian. It's of everything they put out, it was the one that I was still like, hey, cool, Silent Hill. Like,
wasn't coming away disappointed. It's just like, I'll take it or leave it.
Exactly. As soon as you start getting more than one thing to talk about, we can start having things that are much more interesting than the others to be excited about.
Yeah, and if it didn't have the connection with Silent Hill, you probably wouldn't be bothered about it. You'd be like, oh, whatever. Yeah. Just because it's got Silent Hill attached to it, you're like, oh, this sounds maybe a bit interesting. I'm intrigued by it, but apart from that,
It's like with Cloverfield when they basically just bought anything that had like a cool script, throw the Cloverfield name on it, and then they sort of throw out all these movies. To be fair, there are 2 good movies out of that, though.
I love Cloverfield.
The first one, first one is in my top 10 of all time.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw that in the cinema. I was blown away. I loved it.
I got very tangent number 2. I got very into the online viral for Cloverfield. I just couldn't get enough information about that. and I was
Yeah.
all over it. This was back in the day of MySpace, so loads of
Emo.
the characters that are in the movie for like less than, I don't know, 4 seconds have MySpace pages. I was following their MySpace pages. They were uploading pictures in real
Fucking
time.
hell.
It was like, oh my god, I just couldn't get enough of it. So yeah, even for just the sheer scale and entertainment that movie gave me, it earned its place as that's in my top 10 of all time.
I need to watch it now. That is a good film. I haven't seen it in so long.
Yeah.
It is a cracker.
Yeah, it is a good film.
It is a cracker. Yeah. So Silent Hill Ascension, we'll park that, and hopefully something half decent will come out of
Park it and lose the keys.
Well, yeah. Hopefully something sweet will come from it, but we shall see.
We shall see.
And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about before we sort of talk about any Silent Hill memories we have, and this was so unexpected, and I could feel myself getting a little bit emotional about it. And this was the new movie Return to Silent Hill, with Christoph Gans, the original director of the first Silent Hill movie, back to make it. He appears to have the same production team with him. I was always really gutted that Christoph Gans never got to do his second Silent Hill movie, because he loves video games and he loves Silent Hill. And I know Silent Hill, the movie, some people love it, some people hate it. Generally, fans of the game quite like it. Fans of horror movies generally quite like it, but on a, it's not going to win an Oscar anytime soon. But that doesn't stop it from being a really good adaptation of the source material for me. And yeah, I was so gutted when we got Revelations. I still have 2 fucking copies of Revelations down there because it's Silent Hill and I had to support it. But I was so disappointed with it. I really can't stress how annoyed I was at that movie when you consider how good that first movie was. So for them to spend, and it wasn't just 2 minutes of Christoph Gans is back, he's making a movie, here's some production stills, we'll see you at some point in 2024 or whatever. It was no, Christoph Gans is getting to talk about it. He's talking about what it was like going back to that universe for him, showing you storyboards, showing you just some concept art, and then they kind of start dropping. At first it felt like hints, and then they just sort of started saying, I like Silent Hill 2, why don't we adapt that? And you're like, ooh, okay, so we're going to be going for an adaptation of Silent Hill 2 as a movie.
Yeah.
And I just can't help but get excited about that. I'm one of these. I'm one of these people. I like to generally for things that I'm into, I'm glass half full. When they announce that there's a new movie for something that I'm really into, I'm in. I'm excited. And then if it turns out to be shit, it's like, well, it was crap. I'm not one of these people that as soon as they announce it, it's like, nope, it's going to be dreadful. It's like, is it?
Yeah.
How do you know that? Because for me, this was such a
real long
big
phase.
item.
Like movies based on games, there's a lot of like cash grab movies based on games that aren't particularly good. And whenever a movie comes out that's based on the game, I really want it to be good. Like I really want it to like turn the tide. All right, we're actually going to get a wave of like good films based on games. And there's a few standout ones, and actually Silent Hill I think is one of them. Like Silent Hill is a good movie.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Happens to be based on games. I'm hopeful for the new Mario as well. Like if the new Mario is good, that'd be great. But there's been so many misses. There's quite a lot of like quite dire films that are based on games. Like, come on,
Street Fighter 2.
I have the Blu-ray of that because it's so bad it's good. It's
one of the good ones, isn't it? It's like
so
you get
bad,
back and watch like the Mario Brothers films, think, what was that? Like what was going on?
I have
Bowser's
VHS
just
of
like
that.
a man in an office. It's just
Really-
an office suit. It's like, what?
One that really disappointed me actually was Assassin's Creed.
Oh mate, that was boring.
Good. I was like, I was watching the film thinking, am I enjoying this or not? I was like, am I just trying too hard to enjoy it because I like the franchise Assassin's Creed? And by the end of it, it's like, it's just, it had potential. I think it felt like they tried. It felt like they tried to make a good film. It just wasn't great. It's like, whenever they announce a film based on the game, I always got my fingers crossed saying, please be good. Really like to see more good films based on games. So I'm hopeful, always hopeful whenever they announce a game movie.
Mr. Ian, how do you feel about this return to Silent Hill?
Yeah, I think from what I've heard and what I can pick up from the transmission announcement, it's going to be Silent Hill 2, the movie. I think that's what they're doing. So that's good. That's good. Obviously, Revelations was a car crash, somewhat kind of leapfrog from Silent Hill to Silent Hill 3 and 4, possibly. I couldn't really work out which direction they were going with that, and it was just awful. But like you said, Ollie, we have to buy it to support it, don't we? Because it's Silent Hill. And I'm looking forward to it. It's it'll go back to the old. It'll go back to the gritty, dark, smoky, foggy town of Silent Hill, the way it was portrayed in the first film. We always talk about that scene whenever Triangle Head rips off the flesh of the woman outside the church. I think Ollie, we've talked about that loads of times, and so I'm kind of hoping we'll get to see something like that in the new film. But no, I'm excited for it. Again, totally agree with what you're saying. Fans of horror, fans of the game, enjoyed it. You know, I remember going to the cinema to see it and thought it was absolutely brilliant. But I think just if you're not even a fan of horror, if you don't mind horror, I think it's kind of a bit hard to follow, because if you don't know the game, I think you need to know the game. And you're right. You know, it's hard to get a good adaptation of a game, you know, on the film. Like I didn't enjoy Resident Evil, the first film, as much as I really wanted to. I wanted to like it because of its Resident Evil. Alone in the Dark was awful as well. You know, so there was some car crashes, but Silent Hill, in my opinion, was a damn good video adaptation. No, it was a good film. Sorry, from a video game. So I think they'll do the second one justice. I do. I think it'll be good.
Yeah, it's one of those where every now and then, you know, a particular version of a movie will get released. Mr. Dorbs, how we doing, son? And I had to. For the fact that the movie was great anyway, but I ended up getting a Japanese box set for Silent Hill the movie, and it's got this beautiful book in it. Beautiful book. All in Japanese. Can't read a word of it, but it's the book itself goes through all the various like monsters from the game. It just talks all about Silent Hill, and then it gets to the end and it's talking about the movie. And then also in there I have, from the 21st of April 2006, my original Odeon ticket.
No way.
There we go.
Wow.
Back when it cost £6.60 for an adult ticket. And that was on the 21st of April 2006.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
So that was, it was one of those movies where pretty much any version of it that came out, I had to pick it up.
I'm the same with a completely unrelated game, Sonic the Hedgehog. Whatever it's on, I've just got to get. I'm just a crazy fan of it. That's what you do when you're a fan of a game or franchise.
It is. But I think Sonic was one of the first movies recently where I thought, oh man, that's broken the bad movie adaptation curse.
Yeah, it's true.
That was crazy fun. As soon as they announced Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik, you're like, yeah, I'm in.
He's really good at it as well. He's so good, Jim Carrey.
As well.
Yeah,
it's weird with Sonic because I feel like you got those weird, like when Sonic had all the 3D games, a couple of them were all right, but I feel like there's a lot of like really narrow Sonic games, and then he's come back to form. There's some really good, like Sonic Mania. I thought was excellent. Really
Sonic. Do you know what? I am the biggest. Sorry to go off. I'm the craziest like Sonic fan, but I don't like any of the 3D ones. I don't like any of them, and I even played Frontiers at EGX. And I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. It was just so random. It's like there's no structure to it. I didn't even like it.
No,
I didn't like it.
It kind of feels like Sonic the Hedgehog is always akin to like a rock star that had like loads of really good, like the first 5 albums were really solid and really good. And then they went off some weird tangent and started doing pop music for several like decades, and then just one day they just come out with another rock album, and all the fans are back and love it, and it's as good as it ever was. That's what Sonic's arc is for me. It's like you went on this weird tangent, And now he's back
like,
doing 2D platform games.
He's like Macaulay Culkin, and then he just went shit.
Yeah.
I don't think Sonic spent the weekend at the Neverland Ranch with Michael Jackson.
I mean,
Sonic could run away if
I mean, that in itself, that's a documentary waiting to happen, isn't it? Sonic's adventures at the Neverland Ranch.
At the Neverland Ranch.
Oh,
I mean, the amount of weird Sonic spin-offs they did, I wouldn't put it past them to make Sonic in Neverland. You know,
Oh,
there's one where he turns into a werewolf. There was like the
There
one where
is.
you couldn't stop running forward. You play that one on the Wii, and like you're just constantly running forward, and you can't.
yes,
like, all you do
Sonic
is
and
you
the
move right,
Secret Rings.
Yes.
I think it's like some weird thing where all the characters were like other parodies of themselves and little this is just gone off the rails a bit now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one where he has like a sword or something as well, isn't there? I've not played that one.
Yes.
Black
the
Knight.
Knight.
There is.
What was that? Like,
There is. Yeah.
That was on the
Yeah.
Wii, wasn't it?
That was also
Yeah, I
yeah.
think
The
so.
Wii got all the weird ports.
got some weird Sonic
Yeah.
games
Yeah.
going around. But you know, this Sonic
Yeah,
Generations is
good.
pretty cool. Like that was good.
Yeah,
Was that
but the
360?
kart one was good as well. Like not Mario Kart, the Sonic kart thing.
Oh,
that
Sonic
was-
Races.
I mean,
There's
All-Star
a weird-
Racing.
that's
Oh
not
yeah,
bad.
that's it. All-Star Races.
All-Star
Sonic
Racing.
R, which isn't a great game, but for some reason I really enjoyed it anyway. Like I kept on playing it, thinking, "Oh, this isn't very good," but I'll just do one more race. I was like, "Yeah, I'm not enjoying this. I'm going to do another one." I ended up completing the whole game, so I must have been enjoying it really. But
He
think
wasn't
that's
very good in
just
Super Smash Brothers either. I didn't like playing as Sonic.
No, he was dreadful.
He-
They made it weird.
characters that can fly off the edge randomly and you just self KO. It's just, that's never fun.
No. So tangent number 3 brought us onto Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes.
And I can feel I can feel another tangent coming before the end. I think we're going to complete it with a quadrilogy of tangents this evening.
Do you shave your back?
I don't. It's not hairy enough.
Straight in there.
No, I'm the same. I don't have a hairy back either.
I
Runner,
kinda wish
your
I
back
did.
hairy?
Yeah.
Check us all out.
I do,
The
I do,
non-hairy
really.
backs.
Nah, I've got hairy back.
There you go.
Mr. Tim, this is where you're being very quiet. Or have you already said you don't have a hairy
It's gone
back?
quiet.
I've never checked, to be honest. I'm going to assume not. I've never checked. I don't know. Probably not. I think I'll be able to tell. It's the kind of thing you can
Yeah.
tell, right? You can just feel
I
it
would
there,
imagine
you know?
so. I'd imagine your missus would probably tell you. It's one of the
Yeah.
things where your missus would be like, yeah, shave your back. Yeah. There we go. So tangent number 4 immediately in there before we'd even gotten a chance to get back on track. Oh, look at Dorbs in there straight away. Was talking about talking about hairy backs and
Manscaping, can't
manscaping.
you? I think you can use it for your back. You might want to get your partner to do it for you, though. It might be a bit hard to like do your own back, isn't it? I think.
Man, we cover some hard hitting topics on this channel. Right. Pulling it in for our final area of the evening. And that is a free for all, really. For any of your Silent Hill memories, whether that be the first time you played the game, how you first came about it, just anything about the franchise that you love. Because, like we said at the beginning, this has been sort of 10 years in the making, all these new games, these new movies. And all Silent Hill fans have had to go off for a long time is just what's there and just speculate and all the rumors for years that it was coming back, and it just never did. And I genuinely thought this year, if it doesn't appear at the State of Play, which was meant to be the next rumor, was there's going to be a Silent Hill trailer at the State of Play. If it doesn't, then I'm just going to not read any more rumors or get excited by any other little tidbits of information. I'm just going to leave it. And it didn't appear, and I left it. And then somebody sent me a message saying, have you been on Konami's Twitter? And you're like, I'm not on Twitter. Well, here's a screenshot of it. You're like, motherfuckers, they're pulling us back in. So yeah, Silent Hill memories. For me, it was the first game. That's what I started with.
Yeah.
And that came off the back of playing Resident Evil and just loving what that game did. That game, it was scary, it was fun, it was exciting, it was all the emotions you want from anything, really. It was a really good game. And then seeing trailers and stills for Silent Hill and thinking, oh, this will be like Resident Evil. And it just wasn't. It was terrifying, absolutely terrifying. And I remember completing it and thinking, I have never played a game quite like that. And one of my friends does 31 Nights of Horror, And a couple of years ago, he's like, "Have you still got Silent Hill on the PS1?" You're like, "Of course." He's like, "Can I borrow it?" Like, absolutely. So he borrowed it, played it over a weekend. He went, "Still fucking scary, isn't it?" You're like, yeah, yes, it is. A PS1 game can still be scary. So yeah, I'll throw it open to the floor for people with their Silent Hill memories.
Anyone want to go?
Go ahead, Blunners.
Well,
We haven't
you
heard
go
from
first.
you in a wee while.
Well, mine's mainly like you saying from the first one. As like I just remember playing exactly like yours, coming off the back of Resident Evil, because Resident Evil is one of my top other as well, and yeah, just been absolutely blown away by it. But 2 was phenomenal as well. 3 I wasn't really, but PT was the other one that brought me back. I remember when that was with them rumblings about it, and then it got taken down straight away. So then people were like, if you've got it on your PS4 was now worth like loads. So yeah, I remember playing that and obviously bricking it quite a bit. That phone kept going off and going like, thinking, what the fuck? Like, where am I going? Kind of thing. But yeah, the main one for me was the first one in the series, and then a couple of months back I watched Ali was playing it again. But, you know,
I've been playing it.
Yeah, he was streaming it live on it. His cousin, I think it was. We were streaming it live
With Chris.
quite late. Yeah, with Chris.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was what brings back all their memories. Every time you see it, it is quality game.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think one of my favourite bits of the first one was not. I don't think I noticed it until after you come out, when you first go into the school, and the school's like the alternative school, and you realise how dark and like gritty it is, and then it's when you come out of it, and then it changes to the normal school, and the lights are on, and you realise like how messed up the other version of the school was you're just in. I think that was quite a cool moment for me in the game. I really enjoyed that. And this is a weird one, but when I first played the game, I was playing with a mate of mine. We just did catch co-op, like taking it in turns. And we had a few breaks throughout the day. We played it like solidly for like a whole weekend. I mean, every now and then we're going on the internet, going on a dial-up internet connection, looking at stuff to do to unlock the extra bits, like how do you get the chainsaw and things like that, how you get the alternative endings. And at the time, it was like, I guess like Box. Do you remember those? Yeah, like things like Krang and Box and different like TV channels. And then this Box was on, and it was around the song Ricky Martin's "Livin' Da Vida Loca" just kept on coming on. And it's just in the background. I had the TV on. It had that song on, and that song we must have heard that song about 5 or 6 times that day, and then 5 or 6 times the next day. And until this day, for some reason, that song reminds me of Silent Hill, even though it's the tone of it is completely off. If I hear Ricky Martin's "Livin' Da Vida Loca," it just reminds me of Silent Hill, because the day that I was playing it, I heard that song so many times. It's like, it's that bloody "Livin' Da Vida Loca" song again, and then we went back to Silent Hill. So a really weird connection with that song for me, and it's just so, it doesn't fit at all. But for some reason, I can't hear that song now.
Upside out.
I don't know why. I just thought I'd share it with you because I think it's funny.
So instead of a siren, we've got Ricky Martin. You know, all the rest is a Silent Hill.
It's weird. I can't help it. If I hear that song, it just reminds me of that day which I spent playing Silent Hill loads.
Tim, I mean,
recollection.
I'm not going to lie. When you started that story, that is not where I thought that was going. Yeah.
Still the crab.
Nope.
There you go.
For
That's
milk!
the Silent Hill one story.
Living Da Vida Loca with milk.
Oh my word! Yeah, I
Amazing.
never in a million years
Amazing.
would have guessed that that's where that story would have ended.
No,
Like,
not at all.
man, Mr. Ian, you're gonna have to try and top that now with some memories of
I
Silent
think
Hill.
I
for
can.
you.
This is Right Said Fred or something, might be.
All right, said Fred, what shoe? I'm too sexy for my cup. Too sexy for my cat. Too sexy, yeah.
Yes.
Maybe turn into a GIF. Yeah, Silent Hill memories. I didn't actually play the first one. Didn't own the first one. It was actually the second game was my first introduction to it, simply because I remember going to the video game shop. Can't remember what it was called. It might have been Game, maybe at the time. I'm not too sure. And I remember seeing the box and going, "This looks shit. don't like the look of the box. So that put me off straight away. And then the Silent Hill 2 came out then. I was like, oh, and then obviously then managed to get a copy of the first one. And then I think, Ollie, we had a conversation about getting that game this year because I didn't own a copy. So I have now got myself a copy of Silent Hill on the PS1. So it's in pride of place in the RGB Gaming Shed, which I've been sort of evicted from because we are getting our house done up and all the stuff from the living room is in my space. So I'm not happy about that. But anyway, I digress. So Silent Hill 2 is my first introduction to it, and then that was like, oh my god, this game is a thing of beauty. It's amazing. And I didn't get it straight away. A mate of mine had it, and I just remember going around to his house after college and playing it, and we were glued. And he worked at Curry's at the time, and this was before it was like Curry's PC World. So I remember the night it came out, he ran out. We went and got it, and he's got a staff discount and all that kind of good stuff. And that's whenever PC games came in big giant boxes, if you remember that. Yeah. And we got Silent Hill 2 back, and that was us. We were glued to it for weeks, and it was just absolutely amazing. And I haven't really looked back since. It's been, kind of wish I'd have started game collecting 10 years ago. Would have got these games a hell of a lot cheaper. But you know yourself, if you're going for these Silent Hill games, a lot of them are very expensive. Currently, they're very expensive, and I think you're right, Ollie. Rob and I touched on this a few months ago about the PS3 and the Xbox becoming a collectible thing, and I would get, if you can get your Silent Hill games now on the PS3, HD remastered, Downfall, and what was the other one? There's three of them. Homecoming. Get them now because I think they're going to scoot up in price very soon. On both consoles. But that's my earliest memory. And then Ollie, then I'll fast forward to the film. I've already talked about it. Loved the film. Thought it was great. Can't wait to see the new one. And it's an institution. It definitely is. That and Resident Evil are definitely up there.
Yeah. There was a comment from somebody earlier. Was it from Riga about Silent Hill 4?
Yeah.
The Room.
Yeah, The Room being an underrated one. Does anybody? Was it Gib? Oh yes. Does anybody have a Silent Hill game from? Well, just any of them that is like the one that people generally either overlook, that they think needs to be looked at, or certainly gone back over?
I think Homecoming could do with a wee, a revisit. It's not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. But again, like I was saying before, those games are going to shoot up in price now, especially with the announcement of this and exclusively on. I know these games are cross-platform at the moment in terms of like the older ones, but Silent Hill 2 is only coming out for the PS5, so everybody's going to want to get a full set, aren't they? Across all the different all the different Sony platforms. So.
They certainly are.
And saying that, a lot of people only want Metal Gear Solid for the Silent Hill demo disc.
Yeah, this is true.
If it hasn't got the demo disc in it, most people put it aside. But what a game anyway.
Yeah.
What you said, Ian, the cover's a bit.
I didn't get it. It was like this was like the person in me that went to the video shop and judged the film by its cover. I was still that mindset, But boy, was I wrong. I'll admit I was totally wrong.
Yeah, Gibbs put something here. Hang on.
Oh, yeah, the room itself was eerie. It was strange. The only thing I didn't like about the room, you play through. This is a spoiler, isn't it? I guess really, but the game's fucking old now. So. Spoiler alert for Silent Hill 4. You play through the game. Like the first half, and I thought this is great, and then you kind of play through the first half again, and I always kind of was like, why am I playing this again? And it is just kind of, it almost feels like they've got half a game and then they kind of ran out of money, and then we're like, we've got the story, we just don't have the rest of the budget, so let's just do it again. But you can tell the story in the same bits you've just played. You're like, oh man, that's a bit annoying. But I do agree.
That sounds a bit like
underrated.
One of the Nightmare on Elm Streets. Can't remember which one it was. It might be Dream Warriors, where there's one of the guys he's fighting and an invisible Freddy. He's in a karate suit, And he's
Yeah.
fighting Freddy Krueger, but he's invisible at the time. That was filmed at the end of the production, and they didn't have enough money to pay Robert Englund to do the film. So, so he was fighting an invisible Freddy.
No way.
So maybe that's what happened with that game. They ran out of money. Just throw in the first level over again there and just change the color of it. No one will notice. So it's okay.
The one for me that people kind of always seem to overlook was 3, and I kind of feel like Silent Hill 3 was almost like the Resident Evil 3 of its franchise. It's quite short, you know. I think you can smash through it in about 6 hours if you really put your foot down. If you unlock the lightsaber, which is just mental, you just walk around, all of a sudden Heather just sort of does that, and this giant green lightsaber comes out, and you can just beat the crap out of everything with that. You don't need any other weapon in the game. You can then steamroller that game in a few hours. So it is short, but there was something about 3 that I loved. I think my favorite soundtrack is 3. I've got the soundtracks for 1 to 4 on their original Konami releases, and I remember them being some things I ordered off the Konami website. It's probably one of the first things I remember ordering off the internet and paying like £15 for it. And fuck, am I glad I paid 15 quid for it? Because you try and pick up one of them soundtracks now for under 50 quid, and it's a no-go.
Wow.
But
I've just seen one for 200 quid.
what, the soundtrack?
200?
Yeah.
What is it on CD?
Yeah.
Is it CD?
No,
Yeah.
that's a-
I know Mondo have released Silent Hill 1 to 4 soundtracks on vinyl. I've got Silent Hill 1 and 2, and I missed the order for 3 and 4. But they generally reprint later down the line with a different color, so that you collectors can keep the original press, but they do another press. So I will get hold of the second press.
Data discs do amazing stuff on vinyl as well, and it is really
Streets of Rage vinyl, man.
Oh, Streets of Rage 1 and 2 on vinyl. Oh, Streets of Rage 2.
Amazing.
That soundtrack is insane.
That is a great soundtrack.
Probably the best ever made in any single game. Surely, Ian, is it true? Streets of Rage 2.
It's true. It's true. Streets
up
of
there,
Rage
isn't it?
has the most amazing soundtrack. I just even love just completing that game to hear that song at the end. It was amazing. I blew my mind. I think at one time I might have actually in my younger days had put a cassette player next to the TV and press play and record at the same time to record it on the tape.
Oh, okay.
And then left the room and then was able to hear it. So maybe is that like the birth of bootleg video game music? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Pirate in-game music.
That's well good.
Yeah. But yeah, there was something about the soundtrack for 3. You can listen to that. You can listen to that soundtrack, and it sounds like a complete album. It doesn't sound like a game soundtrack. It's got just all the tracks are so well written. It's got like some of the instrumental stuff and the filler stuff to just be sort of really atmospheric. But I think almost every other track on that album is a song, and it's just absolutely amazing. And a few years ago now, we got to go and see Silent Hill live. The composer came and he toured with a band, and he just played like rock versions of the soundtrack. And that was in just like a random 400-person venue in Southampton, and it was the best thing ever. It was so loud and so weird. And he's always said he'd like to do it again. But yeah, do it again.
Do it again. Heavy Rain. That is a good game.
Dorbs does like to bring the Heavy Rain. Yeah, Heavy Rain is, that is special.
That is a good game.
Yes, does anybody else have any Silent Hill memories they want to throw in before we start to round up? Because I'm very aware I've taken almost an hour and a half of your Tuesday evenings.
What London's just said, I'm enjoying revisiting number 1 at the moment. I just absolutely love it. It is such a... It's still scary. It's still what you said, Ollie. It is such a scary game still. It really is. And those little creatures, but they're like below your knees, whatever those things are.
Yeah.
I don't know. They freak me out.
It's almost like little children, isn't it?
Where, like, running away is a more viable option than just getting into combat. Because so many games, like, you don't run away, do you? You just fight things. Whereas, like, in Silent Hill, when you just armed with that crowbar and those flying things come at you,
like
the chance of you coming out of that encounter without taking any damage is quite low. So you're better off just legging it. Like, you hear the buzz of the radio, You see it coming through. You can hear the flapping of the wings. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna run. And it's just, when the first games are played, they're like running is better than fighting. You just get
definitely. Yeah.
You have to almost full on Dave Lister it, don't you? Just like running, change of plan, leg it. Yeah, it's one of those situations. That's something else you brought into this then, Tim. As soon as I ever run away in a Silent Hill game again, I'm just going to be thinking, what would Dave Lister do? Whilst he sings Ricky Martin as he runs.
Ricky Martin,
to be the local bloke.
Just as he sort of runs away, living to be the local.
Yeah, Ricky Martin.
Guys,
Well, good.
it's thank you so much for all coming on, and it was just one of these things. As soon as we saw the transmission, it was like, we've got to get together, we've got to chat about it. I've got to get some Silent Hill fans on here, and thank you both so much for coming on, giving us your time, and it's always wonderful to have you guys on. Thank you everyone in the chat. There's a lot of chat to go through, and I'm very glad Blunders was keeping up with that, because there's a lot to be going through. Tim is a lover, not a fighter.
Indeed.
He might also be a Hispanic dancer as well. We don't know.
With a hairy back.
With a hairy back.
Show us your back. I want to see the back.
We'll have to post
Show the man your back.
later, won't we? We'll have to sort
Show
of
us your back.
have to do a reveal.
Oh dear. Now I see
Oh,
it.
but people want to see it. Come on.
Oh,
We've
dear.
waited this whole time.
Head on
I've
over
been
to
waiting
the
this whole time.
head on over to the Retro Gaming Revival. Oh my god. There it is.
There we go.
Oh my god.
Just reminds you.
You want to get a
Silent
copyright
Hill,
strike,
yes.
so-
It just reminds me of Silent Hill, doesn't it? Does it remind you of Silent Hill too, Ali?
Yeah. I
First thing pops into my head when I hear that.
Yeah. To see Ricky Martin coming out through the fog.
And then back in again really quick. You don't know. That's the game's playing with your mind.
Yeah. Is it Ricky Martin or is it a bat?
Did Ricky Martin ever really exist, or was it just my fear of Silent Hill created it in my mind?
Triangle back and sack.
I'm going too far off of the tangent now. Get it back in, Dawes.
Right, before we go down a very, very deep rabbit hole, I'm going to thank you all again for joining us. I'm going to thank everyone in the chat for joining us.
Don't forget Everchat Thursday.
Yes,
Yes,
Everchat is
come
back.
Everchat Thursday.
Everchat is back on Thursday with Ryan as your host. I can't think what else we've got coming up. Or is that what we've got coming up? And everything else is
So
beginning.
the OLL.
Everything else is.
No, not the OLL. The Nottingham. This is Nottingham one.
Silent Hill.
Yes, I think we're trying to reschedule getting Jarvis on and re-up to talk about the Nottingham Games Expo. So yes, there's lots more streams coming
I'm
from
going
us.
to that. I got my tickets yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Excellent.
Oh, yes.
Excellent.
We're trying to get out there on a Saturday. aren't we?
Yeah, we're trying to make it work. We're trying our best to make it work. It's yes, we are going to somehow make it work. I'm sure. I am sure. Chaps, I will leave it there, and thank you all again for your time, and we shall see you all very, very soon.
Girl's gonna make me fall.
Yes!